Hi folks, welcome to your latest planning outlook that's updated on Friday the 20th of November. It's all looking very much more of the same over the next week or so as changeable Atlantic weather patterns stay in charge. We're looking a little bit chillier than we've been more often, so less milder incursions coming in and temperatures more often sub-zero, at least on the higher Scottish mountains, with some snowfalls coming in here at times, the most frequent of the precipitation generally in the west, often of rain on lower slopes though. Windy as well, quite frequently up to gale force on higher tops. I'll show you this chart first of all. This is the freezing level. This is the height in metres that you'll find temperatures at or below 0 Celsius. And starting off with this weekend, keep an eye on the date in the bottom right hand corner. We can see a value of around 1,000 metres across Scotland, as high as 3,000 metres across England and Wales at this stage, so well above freezing point on the higher mountains. A cold front lies in between, and that cold front will sink slowly southwards as Saturday goes on, but still most likely stays above freezing across the Welsh mountains all the way through the day. Heading onwards into Sunday, that chillier air does just sink a bit further southwards, so we can see that 1,000-metre contour on this chart down as far south as Wales, so Snowdon Summit at or just below freezing point, and a similar sort of spread of around 900, 1,000 metres give or take across Scotland and northern England, so the higher Scottish mountains a degree or so below freezing point. Onwards into early next week, we start off with that chilly air still in place, maybe a frost first thing on Monday morning into some of the Scottish glens. Then a warm sector comes in behind a warm front and values just lift temporarily at least above freezing to the higher mountain tops before the next cold front comes in, and that puts us back into chillier air as we go onwards through Tuesday and into the middle and second half of the week. Things stay on the cooler side with a freezing level typically somewhere between around 800 and 1,000 metres, with maybe just the indication of that level lowering as we head to the back end of the week. So the freezing level by around Friday suggested as being more widely nearer to around 800 metres. It gives the opportunity to gradually top up some snowfall accumulations on the higher mountains as time goes on. Here's the synoptic charts for the next 5 days ahead. There's that cold front we were mentioning on Saturday, drifting southwards. A rather murky and damp day then across much of the hills of England and Wales, improving a bit across the Lake District and North Pennines as that front begins to sink southwards as the day goes on. Across Scotland, it's a general strong westerly airflow, gale or even severe gale force across northern mountains, and that will bring showers in off the Atlantic most frequently across western coastal districts, those falling as some snow above, say, 700-800 metres or so. A few showers spreading inland, but very few making their way all the way toward the eastern side of the Highlands. Similar sort of day on Sunday. Pressure is fairly high with the centre of the high away toward the south. A very weak front is left around the English Channel. All of us then just in that fairly cool westerly airflow. The wind not as strong as Saturday, but still across northern Scotland particularly, still at around gale force on the higher mountains. If anything, the speed's just dropping a bit as the day goes on. Lighter winds across Wales and northern England. Still some showers coming in across western Scottish mountains, again of some snow down to around 700 metres or so. Very few toward the east, and largely a dry day for much of England and Wales. Maybe just 1 or 2 squibs of showers around the coasts. Brief bump of high pressure passes eastwards overnight into Monday. That's the scope for a touch of frost then first thing, but the next warm front is already starting to arrive, that bringing some cloud and rain and drizzle, preceded maybe by a bit of snow on the highest mountains before that temperature does just tend to lift. Exact timing somewhat uncertain at this stage. Just be prepared for western hills to go downhill fairly quickly with that murky air coming in off the Atlantic. The best chance for higher cloud breaks and dry conditions the further east and north you go, but most places seeing some dampness as Monday progresses. The wind strengthening as well. That milder air becoming shoved eastwards into Tuesday, the next cold front just pushing through again. The absolute timing uncertain at this distance, but expect a zone of rain with some snow on its back edge across the higher mountains at least, just sinking slowly southeastwards as time goes on. Some showers following again into western Scottish mountains, those with some snow down to around 700-800 metres or so again. Cloud bases tending to lift once that front does move through. By Wednesday, a fairly cool westerly airflow is in charge, little centre of low pressure somewhere off the western side of Scotland with some frequent zones of showers, maybe something a bit more organised for a time with, again, some snow across the mountains down to around 700 metres thereabouts across the west at their most frequent, drier the further east you go, and a scattering of showers coming in on perhaps a fairly weak front across the western hills of England and Wales. Quite tricky at this stage just to know how things play out by the later part of next week. Many indications still keep areas of low pressure over the North Atlantic, those trying to move in our direction. If anything, the source of the air across the North Atlantic is coming around a bit more from between Greenland and Canada, so it's a cooler westerly pattern than perhaps has been more common recently when the air has typically come more out of tropical southwesterly origins, so it's that air mass characteristic that changes somewhat. Still, the idea of some fronts coming in and the view of precipitation remaining frequent, sometimes in the form of showers. One or other of these little areas of low pressure may just spin up into something a bit more active, so it's still a generally unsettled pattern, the risk of gales, even severe gales at times if these do develop, and the view of showers coming in off the Atlantic quite frequently even towards next weekend. As we saw at the start, with that freezing level likely to be that bit lower, it's mostly falling as snow across the higher mountains, still typically only rain at the lower levels though. Stay right up to date with us every day on the MWIS website for your local forecasts. Thanks for watching this video today. Bye for now.